And good morning, everybody. Denise Guru here again, your Ascension mentor. An update, just wanted to do an update on the full moon, this full moon that we're going through right now, and what it had to do with my dream that I had about it. I just want to talk a little about the confirmation about it and how important it is. And it is some information that was given out by Cobra, and I'm a Cobra follower. And yes, not everything I agree with, but you know, that's how it is. We don't agree with everything everybody says. You don't agree with everything I say, and that's just how it is. Pick and choose things. It's just where we're at, and what we resonate with. But so Cobra just sent out his message to all of us, and it was a very long message about what's going on right now, and it has to do with the planets. This is all planetary alignments and cyclical and time alignments. Every 12,000 years, every 500 years, every 26,000 years, and so we're at that precipice again. And so he wanted to talk a little bit about that. But the most interesting thing he said was about this full moon. And this full moon that we're in right now, May 7th, is actually the trigger through which Archangel Metatron will activate our solar system into an ascension portal. And so that's pretty much what I got with my dream. It was like that opened, that ascension gate opened, or something opened, or something was activated through the moon with this ascension process. And we know it's been ongoing. And so he said, so it activated the solar system ascension portal, which is connected to the galactic center. But he also said that Gaia is still being slightly buffered. And we all have to wonder why that is happening. And it's interesting because he is saying Gaia is being buffered. He's not saying humanity is being buffered. He's saying Gaia is being buffered. And he says, what we're going through has to deal with the planets, the alignment in the planets. And so a lot of this, yes, has to do with our Mother Earth. And so many, and I think part of the reason that there's buffering is because so many of us have not done the work to reawaken to we are all connected to her. We are all part of nature. She's part of us. How many times, how many lifetimes have we lived here and died and left our bones in her soil? There's a DNA exchange and with her and with us. And we still think we are separate. We still have our sights in the stars, our sights on the ETs. And so I wanted to tell you today too about the spiral wheel. I went in it, of course, because it's the full moon morning. And so I did go in and work in the spiral wheel. And of course, this full moons are all about getting rid of things that no longer serve us, getting rid of things that we don't want to be, that don't want to be part of who we are. And so my intention for this was to take away procrastination and take away fear that I still carry, take away the feeling of unworthiness and the doubt and I'm not good enough and all of that, taking all away. And I know a lot of us are still going through that, aren't we? And so that was my intention, working with the cosmic energies, and and I brought in the ancestors and the ancient ones, because my background is wise woman background, the indigenous, the earth religion background, and that this is where we're all supposed to be. This is the missing link. Um, we're here on this planet, and we need to be part of that once again. And so it's really coming back to me again. And so when I work with the ancient ones and the ancestors, these, it's like, okay, take this here. You can have my fear. You can have my procrastination. You can have my self-doubt, my unworthiness. You can have it. Please take it away. And in doing that, I did feel this shift. And so after that, of course, it was like, okay, now that I've cleared that out, please bring in the strength and the perseverance and the determination and reclaiming my power and everything that I need to continue this journey. So bring that in. And so it was really, really interesting because while I was sitting in my wheel outside, I could hear this bird. I'm a bird person because I'm an air sign. And I could hear this bird that I've never heard before. And this bird, it was like 20 birds wrapped up into one. And this one bird was singing all of these different songs. And it's really interesting because one of my friends who found me through this YouTube channel, she sent me a message that she had the same thing going on with her, but the bird was coming at, late in the night, and it was like singing all these different songs. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and the bird seemed to be over there. Then it was over there. And I looked, and then it was on the ground. It was a rose finch. It was a male rose finch. And then he had all the little girlfriends all the way around him, and they were pecking around on the ground. And he was just singing and chirping, and he sounded like all the different birds in the area at one. And I was like, a little mockingbird, and he was fluffing his wings, and his head feathers were all cocked up, and he was bent on getting himself a girlfriend. And so that's what we're in. That's the timing that we're in right now. And so I just really enjoyed it. So anyways, when I got done, I stood up, and my spiral wheel is like 30 feet in diameter, and I have a tree on one end, and the branches hang over into the spiral wheel. And when I stood up, here comes a hummingbird. And I looked up, and the branch was like maybe 5 feet from my head, and we just locked gazes. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect message. Thank you, thank you. And he just sat there and looked at me until he, was sure that I picked up the message. And then he said, it was a she, I'm sorry, she said, thank you for, keeping the feeder full. And thank you for enjoying my presence, which I do. I enjoy their presence. I don't have a lot of them up here because I'm, up in the mountains. For some reason, there isn't just a ton. I've been to areas where I've had 30 of them at one time. And so the hummingbird feeder was on the other side of the property pretty much. And I thought it was really interesting that it would just come right when I was done. I stood up and I was going to exit the wheel, and there it was. And so I want to give you the message of hummingbird. And I think this pertains to all of it because the ancestors, the ancient ones, they know what my intention is. They know what I'm all about, and they knew that I was going to put this on a video. And so hummingbird is all about strength and perseverance. And you think about and journey, they take such a long journey, don't they, when they come back and forth, with the seasons. And so they need great strength, and they're not very big. They're one of the smallest birds, I think, of the, there's probably going to be somebody that's going to come and say, oh, something else, but I don't know. But and they're all about joy in the journey, and but the big and that's what I was looking for, perseverance and strength to continue this journey. And this is something that we all are going through and we all need right now, right? We're all at our wits end and we're done and we want to be out of here. We want to go home. Our mission is over. And so the hummingbird was also telling us about time and the past and the future. And the hummingbird is saying, you know, so many of us are stuck in our past. And, you know, this happened to me and that happened to me. And I am this because this happened to me. And I am here because this happened to me. And, you know, we need to be reminded that we need to let go of the past. Yes, the past can create the future, right? We know that. And because time is not linear. And so we need to look at those things that happened to us in our past and the mistakes that we made and the things that we did that we weren't proud of. And we have to just bless them and let them go and say thank you for the lessons and think about where you are today. Think that the things that you did in the past, would you do them today? No. And the things that happened to you in the past, you know, it was the past. It was just part of our challenges that you know, we had to go through. So really we have to count some of that as blessings because we are where we are today. I mean, I had most evilest mother-in-law ever. She was just pure evil. She had a reptilian oversoul. I've never seen such a mean, horrible woman. Mean, horrible to little babies. I mean, just terrible. And but because of her, I wouldn't be here in Colorado. I would still be living in northern Wisconsin. Yeah, ooh, sorry if you live in Wisconsin. Yes, you know, hey, but I had to get the hell out of there. Um, and so we have to also stop living for the future. Every day it's like, oh, is the event here? Is the event here? Oh, it's not here. Oh, not here. Oh, we didn't have the big solar flash. Oh. I'm tired of this. I'm so ready. I want to do this. I want it now. And so we are, what they're saying is that we forgot the joy in the journey. And this is something that I always say, that the journey is the destination. And that's one of the messages and the lessons that I write about in my books. And the heroine, the main character, you know, it's a development story and how she realizes that it is all about the journey. It really is all about the journey. And so we're given all this time. We came here for this. We came here to experience this and take part in it and do our mission and bring in the energies. We didn't come here to sit and feel sorry for ourselves and say nobody loves me and I want to go home right now. I'm over this. I'm done with this. That is not why we came here. That is not part of this journey. So it's all about finding the joy and the perseverance of this journey because there's so many things there that we're missing out on. We are the synchronicities that are there for us that we miss because we got our eyes and our attention set on something that hasn't, according to us, hasn't happened yet. Something that's constantly in the future. I mean, for so many of us that have known about the shift, I've known about it since the late 80s. We've been waiting for decades. And so what does that do when we just wait and, you know, we're depressed and we're tired and we don't want to be involved and we're lazy and we're couch potatoes and, you know, it stops us from our journey. And it also causes us to be fed off. And we know who's feeding off of us because we're lowering our vibrations. So you guys, buck up. You are missing the best part of this. We're almost there. And I know some are saying, you know, 2025. But we've entered this since before 2012. the harmonic convergence, like in, what was that, 1987, you know, that also was another great trigger. We've been through so many triggers, and if we look how far we've come, I mean, when I watch movies from the 70s when I was a kid, I mean, it's like watching things from the dark ages. It's like we were so ridiculous back then, weren't we? And how far we've come. And so we really want to be we want to be part of this journey. We want to get out there, and we really want to do what feeds our soul. And it's time for you guys to get involved and get out and feed your soul. And this is why I bring up my wheel. This is something that you all can do, and it's so easy. And it's all about that missing link. It's all about reconnecting to nature, because we are part of nature. So many of you have disconnected. You know, as close as you get to nature is your dog, your cat, your hamster, your fish, and that's it. You go out and plant a couple trees, or plant a couple flowers in the spring or whatever, and that's it. It's so much more than that. It's all about restoring the connection back to our mother, that which they have taken away from us. They have taken that, because that's where our power is, and that's where our strength, that's where our nurturing, and that's where our sustenance comes from, our connection with the Great Mother. And so, you know, it's time for you to get back in that, and start a journal. I've started another journal. I have so many journals. Start a journal of getting back to nature. Start a journal of communing once again with the Great Mother, with the Cosmic Mother, our Cosmic Mother. And when you start that journal, you start journaling ideas and things, that ways that you think you can reconnect with, or things that you can do. You know, looking for synchronicities. That's what happens when we start reconnecting. All these synchronicities start hitting us. And when we have these synchronicities, we have these little aha moments, we have these little epiphanies. And what does it do? It's like me with the hummingbird. I mean, it just raises your vibration. It feeds your soul. It finds you something to look more forward to, other than the actual designated time of the event, guys. We have to stop that. That is all that false light crap bullshit, that we're just going to sit here and wait. And because it didn't happen a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, didn't happen last month, well, I'm done. I'm over with this. No, that's not why you came here. And so I want you guys to really, really, really working on reconnecting and seeing the synchronies. I have so many stories, and I know people get bored about listening to other people's stories, but I mean, I've held a falcon in my hand. I mean, I'm so connected with birds, and I'm always communicating and going, you know, I would just love to be able to hold a falcon. And not too long after that, in a snowstorm, falcon hit. We had these great big huge windows in our house. Falcon hit the window, landed head first into the snow, and I went out there and picked it up, and it was out cold. And so I'm giving it Reiki, and not worried about what it's going to do when it wakes up. You know, and it woke up, but I had it in both my hands, and it's looking at me. And so I just look at it, it looks at me, and then I tell my husband to open the door so I can let it out. And I go outside, and I open my hand, and it just, the feeling of it just leaving my hand and watching it fly, it was so amazing. It was like a milestone. I mean, I went to a wolf sanctuary with a Cherokee medicine man friend of mine. I went to the wolf sanctuary, and I got a wolf greeting. And a wolf greeting is where they come and actually lick out your mouth. And for me, that was just like bucket list check off, you know. So so many stories, so many, and you know, spirit, source, God, goddess, whatever you call it, it speaks to you through nature. And that's what we miss, guys. Get back to nature. Go out and look for Sasquatch if that's what makes you happy. But get out in nature. Um, you know, grab the leaves of the trees and feel the energy flowing through it from Gaia. Feel that and walk barefoot. Don't we are insulated from her negative ions because we wear shoes. Take your damn shoes off and walk barefoot in the park, wherever. Walk barefoot and get out in the woods and sit by a stream or a pond. Walk the beach. Put your feet in the sand. Anything that connects you to nature. Plant a little tree in a pot and put it on your patio. Put bird feeders out. Put um, bird baths out. I always have bird baths out. I always have bird food out. My intention daily is doing something for nature because I am part of nature and I know that, and that's where I come from. And you guys are missing out on so much fun and so many aha moments. And another funny story is hornets. We had a really dry, we were in a drought for many years. And one day I noticed that the hornets were dying in the water tank, my horse water tank. So I put a little bowl out for them with rocks in it and sticks so the hornets and the bees could get water, not drown. And it was funny because we had that connection then, and they would come and tell me, they would come up to the house and fly around me and tell me that they were out of water. And I had a woman come in. She spent the weekend and we did a QHHT session and we were standing out on my front deck and here come the bees and the hornets. And she's like, what are all these bees and hornets doing? I said, oh, they're thirsty. I have to fill up their water. And she looked at me like, you are what? So I took her down. Sure enough, the bowl was empty, filled up the water, and here they all come. She says, I would never believe it if I hadn't seen it myself. You know, so I have so many stories. I mean, 2 weeks before one of my dogs was going to pass away, I was taking him on a walk and I kept seeing the falcon. And the falcon kept perching in the trees. As I walked through the trees, it would perch in the tree. And then I'd go to another tree and perch in that tree. And I knew it was a message. I knew there was a message. And so I decided, well, I better look and see. And one of the message was that I was going to use my energy to help a loved one cross. 2 weeks later, it was one of my poodles. And you know, I've had flowers left. I helped a horse cross that was staying with me. And in the middle of the mountain, in the rocks and the nothingness, after I helped him cross, in his little pen where he used to live, like a month later, up grew an iris in the middle of a horse pen. I don't have flowers. I didn't have flowers up there because our climate was terrible. And my little poodle, he crossed the end of October. We had already, the flowers, everything were done. We already had frosts, you know, things that already frosted over and died. And he knew my favorite flower was aster daisy because of the color, the violet and the orange color. And one day when I was walking to the barn, I always went in the back service door to get into the barn to feed the horses. There was an aster daisy, the only one. Everything else had already died and was gone. And so they do leave you messages. I have so many stories like this, you guys. And it's time for you guys to get your stories. It's time for you guys to believe that you have this within you to experience this. And that is why I think partly, if you talk to any of the indigenous tribes or the Native American tribes or, you know, the gypsy people like me, that's my heritage. you know, they all know how important it is, the connection to nature and Gaia. And I think that is part of why she is still being buffered, because she's still waiting for us, and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so for those of you who are still with me and still watching, I'm going to do a little bit of a switch here with my videos, and it's going to include all of this. And it's going to help you people find your way back home. Your home right now is not in the stars because you chose to come here. This is your home right now. As much as you don't like it, you have to change your perspective. You have to change your perspective. You have to look at it in a different way. And you have to find the silver lining and reconnecting back to this planet, this cosmic, great cosmic mother, and all of her natural realms. That is what you're missing out on, guys. And it is so much fun once you start doing this and you start doing your work and you start going, oh my gosh. Oh, I was driving down the road and a hawk just flew over my car. I mean, it almost hit my window. I mean, you're going to start seeing things like that. Yesterday, I'm going into town and a red fox out of a subdivision that's nothing but field. Here comes the red fox right to the end of the road, and it looks at me and I'm like, hi, fox. And he turns around and goes back. Now, fox is about seeing the truth, seeing the tricksters, you know, knowing that all the tricksters that out there and the lies and the deception, they see through the deception, and of course, not to mention, they're wise and cunning, you know. So you'll see it, and the more you see these, the more of these you will see. It's developing that. It's like developing your intuition. The more you go, oh, I think somebody's going to call me, and that person does call you, that's going to happen to you more often. And so these are all basic things that we've forgotten. You know, we got all caught up in the event and when is it going to happen, and oh, it's coming now and it's coming next week and it's coming whenever. We are in it, you guys. We are in it. We just don't see it. We just don't see it. And so it's time for you guys to open up all your clairs so you can see the synchronicities and see all the gifts that are waiting for you. And so I hope you keep these words. I hope you do start a journal, and I hope you do try some of this, because even the indigenous people say there's no healing without the mother. You can go through all the healing courses you want, and if you are disconnected from the mother, you will not be able to heal fully. And so that's one very important thing. And, you know, and we're also in a time of manifesting things a lot quicker. So we have to really mind our thoughts, because and that's another thing, I think, we're not ready to be responsible for our thoughts and the negative things that we put out there, because we are manifesting those things a lot faster. And I've done it in the past. And believe me, when I was doing my shamanic training, they call it die the little deaths. I went through dying the little deaths, and I really learned that lesson well. You have to really guard your thoughts and really work on the love. And that's why I always taught, you know, that's why I teach about working through the heart, doing your heart work techniques, breathing through your heart. And so this got a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So anyways, all right, you guys, let's give it a shot here and let me know. All right.